There are two segments in the Rorta Media Group. There's the publishing side, there's the printing side. And of course, the printing side has to help the publishing side as well as we can. We have a lot of deadline magazines, so every day, every hour, almost something has to be finished and leave to our subscribers. That's one thing, but next to that, there's about 50% for external customers that also want to have the long-term vision. And as we are a long-term supplier for our internal customer, our external customers are sure they will have a long-term supplier with us as well. Even more than ever before, I would say. I think sustainability is high on the list in every company these days. But the thing is to make it like concrete, yeah? So see what measures can you do, what measures can you take, what investments can you do to be more sustainable. And so, yes, indeed, we have a monthly follow-up meeting to see everything that we are doing in the media group, the Rorta Media Group, on the publishing side, but also on the printing side. So, yeah, very important. Well, it goes in two ways. We started 10 years ago, and our current plan is going up to 2040. And the target is to be carbon neutral in 2040. So 10 years quicker than European Union asks from us. So that's the plan, and of course we have a lot of steps between now and 2040. The first step that we have taken is to measure where we are today, because to go to carbon neutrality you have to know where you start from. So that's what we did in the past 2 years. Now we know how much carbon footprint we are still, let's say, having as a company. And so we have targets on every single step over the next 17 years, right? To go to zero. Yeah. It is very difficult. We started this ISO 50000 certification, 50001 certification, 2016. We had a target to improve over like 7 years, to improve by 3 or 4%. And in the end, we realized 10%. But of course, the further you go in the process, the harder it gets to find improvements, until we found the solution with ContiWeb to install the new dryer, where we really have a very big step forward, a significant decrease in energy consumption, which will allow us to make another big step in reducing our energy consumption per square meter printed. I don't think it's regulated yet, although in the European Union we have now the CSRD regulations coming up where you have to really report on your sustainable actions, and those actions will be also audited by an external company. So yes, legislation is slowly coming up, but we didn't wait for that, clearly. It's already 3 years ago where we have defined a sustainability program for the group and not waiting for legislation. It's a very important commercial argument. We are in Belgium, it's not the cheapest country in Europe. So we have to find qualitative arguments to convince our customers to come to our printing factory. I have to do more and more sustainability presentations to our customers. And I think it's going up quickly on the decision ladder. So yes, we recently had the Financial Times joining us as a strategic long-term customer. And if you look at what our customer is telling about that cooperation, sustainability is one of the first reasons, next to a long-term partnership and the fact that we will be there in the long run as a printing house. Sustainability is one of the main factors to come to our printing factory as a customer. I think the gains are limited because a press is a press. There are not so much revolutionary things on that. You need engines, you need motors to run a press. So I think it's much about the environment still. It's about lighting, it's about insulation, it's about also putting solar panels, for instance. We have a project to install 3,600 new panels next year. So it's much more about the surrounding than the machines itself, because I would say on that level, there's not so much things that you can gain. Yeah? You can think about more efficient motors, or maybe proactive maintenance to replace a motor which is using more than energy than expected or than it should. But that's like the 0-point savings there. Yeah, there are even more than we ever expected. And in fact, the story is that we have 4 printing lines here, printing presses for the magazine pressing, and we have 2 presses for newsprint and retail folders. The latest press that we installed is in 2020, 72-page press, which had for the first time a ContiWeb dryer with integrated afterburner. And that's the game changer in the story, right? Because so far, every press we have is connected to an external afterburner. Yeah? So we saw on the last line that in fact we could save 50% on the gas consumption. and about 30% on the electricity consumption. As we saw that, we were sure we would have the same gain on the other lines. So it was like an easy decision, because we had already a performing machine in-house, which we were sure of that the results would be repeated on the other lines as well. It's something we checked, which we talked about, which we considered, but we have not found any technical solution that can support our business, our speeds, our quality needs, our safety needs as well, as we wanted. So for now, we decide to go for the old concept of gas-heated burners, but the installation is flexible. If in the future there's a new technology for putting heat in an oven, we could use that as well. Again, 50% less gas consumption, 30% less electricity consumption is so enormous that it was an easy decision. Yeah. So we save 50% on the drying of the paper and the baking of the ink, let's say, the drying of the ink on the paper. So we save that amount of energy on the process. Of course, if you look to the total operation of the printing house or the total operation of the group, then you talk about 14%, which is still significant. Well, I think the partnership goes pretty well. We have had quite some discussions, let's say, going up to the decision, of course. It was easier as we already had an installation of them, so we didn't have to be convinced about the benefits, so that makes it easier. But now there's more discussion about the practical stuff, the timing. We are occupied 6 days on 7, 24 hours per day, so there's not so much time to change presses or ovens or any equipment. Yeah? So here we have defined with ContiWeb and their partners, handling partners, a very tight window of 7 calendar days. And in fact, so far, 2 down, 1 to go. We have respected the schedule every time again. So that was a very critical point. We have to go to carbon neutrality anyhow by 2040. So you can decide to spend the money now or to spend the money in 10 or 15 years. And in the end, then it's about a financing question. As we are a very strong, financially strong company, it's better to spend it now and to go into the market quicker than our competitors and to go to the customers and tell them about our plans and our real actions. So it's not just something which is like in the air, but it's really going on here. Customers can come and see it. We have calculations, certified calculations that prove the benefits of what we are doing. So it goes hand in hand.